Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of the Mindful Journey. I am so glad you could join me again. Today, I actually wanted to talk about a topic we are all very familiar with, and the topic is stress. Now, to understand stress, it's important we talk about something called the Autonomic Nervous System, or the ANS. Now, if you're not familiar with the autonomic nervous system, it's actually the part of our nervous system that is responsible for everything that we don't consciously control, such as our respiration, our heart, beating of our heart, dilation of our blood vessels, constriction of our blood vessels, our digestive process, our hormones, our immune system. All that is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. Now, this autonomic nervous system has two branches. The first branch, or one of the branches of the autonomic nervous system, is called the sympathetic branch. And the other branch is called the parasympathetic branch. Now, why are these branches important? Many of you might have heard of the fight and flight response. And that response is actually part of your sympathetic nervous system. So when our body is under stress or we encounter a stressful event, the sympathetic tone in our body increases. So basically we get into a flight, fight, or freeze mode. Now when our body is in this particular mode where we are either going to fight it, flee from it, or we're just going to freeze, what you'll also notice is your judgment is impaired. You're not thinking straight. You're not making the right decisions. Your planning actually suffers as well. And this is because our evolutionary brain hijacks the system. And the information does not even go to the evolved part of your brain, the cortex, that is required for all your higher level cognitive functioning. So you might as well as not be making any judgment when you are stressed, because it's not going to be what you would have made when you're in a calmer state. So that being said, we also have something called the parasympathetic nervous system. That part of our nervous system actually helps with restoring our body, calming ourselves, helps in the digestion process. So basically, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic has to work in sync. And when we are stressed, you will find your sympathetic tone increases. When you practice things like exercising daily, having a routine throughout your day, participating in exercises, stretching, pacing, mindfulness, all that helps balance your systems out. Oh, and I also forgot, nutrition is important. Sleep is also very important. So having all of that helps you synchronize your two systems. So that being said, how does a body decide something is stressful? You might find two people might experience the same event, but they might come out of it differently. One person will experience the event, won't even notice it as a stressful or process it as a stressful event. They might come out of it having learned something from that event, growing out of that event, being leaders. The other person will come out of the same stressful event destroying their lives, getting addicted to drugs, just going down the drain, basically. Now, how did that happen? They both had the same event. This is because stress is actually the emotional reaction you have to an event. So an event occurs, that is not stress. Your emotional reaction to it is the stress. So when you start to have a negative emotion that builds up in your body towards an event, your brain thinks of it as threat. It starts to produce cortisol or release cortisol. Your sympathetic system or sympathetic part, the fight and flight response, the tone of that increases. So your body is just ready to fight or flight at that time, just from your negative emotions. So it's very important that we learn to manage our negative emotions, because the negative emotions and your stress hormones, they all can accumulate in your body. Things can start off as irritability, just a little bit of worry here and there. But you're going to find if you don't manage it, it's going to add up. Irritability is going to turn into frustration. Worry is going to turn into anxiety. Eventually, it's going to turn into judgment, blame, anger. You might have difficulty managing your emotions eventually. You might have times where you're just blowing up or you're getting depressed. And that's because of your emotions that need to be regulated. You will find our emotions are basically energy in motion. They need to be managed. They need to come out some way or managed some way. Now, that being said, I like to leave you all with the emotional refocusing technique. So when you start to notice you're starting to get a little bit of irritability, you're having a little bit of a stressful event happening, a little bit of conflict with a colleague or a partner, or getting stuck in traffic, I want you to start using this technique. The technique is called the quick coherence method, and it really helps you refocus back to a positive feeling. And it actually helps you plug in all that energy drain that you experience with your negative emotions. You'll find that it actually plugs that and you will stop experiencing that emotional drain. So this is just one of the many techniques that I want to share, called the quick coherence. To start off with, you can participate in the technique and I'll walk you through it. Just because you're doing it the first time, I would encourage you to close your eyes while doing this. So just close your eyes, sit up nice and tall. So you don't want to slouch, you actually want to sit up nice and tall. And just start to notice the area of your heart. Just focus on the area of your heart. If you're finding it difficult to do, I would encourage you to place a hand on your heart. Placing your hand on your heart actually increases the tone of your parasympathetic nervous system. It releases oxytocin. So go ahead, place a hand on your heart. If you're not comfortable doing that, you don't have to. That's absolutely fine as well. Now imagine your breath going in through the heart area and out through the heart area. See if you can breathe in a little slower and a little deeper than usual. You can breathe in for a count of 5, breathe out for a count of 5, or any other count that you're comfortable with. Now see if you can sincerely experience a positive emotion in your heart. Emotions such as care, compassion, appreciation. It might help to think of a place you've been to that was beautiful. Imagine being there and see if you can sincerely experience the feelings of gratitude for that place, for that experience, feelings of calmness, joy, appreciation. It might also help to think of someone or something that you love and sincerely feel the feelings you have for that thing or that person. Feelings of care, compassion, appreciation. Just stay with those positive feelings in your heart for a bit longer. And whenever you're ready, you may open your eyes. So how do you feel now? If you started watching this video when you were stressed, do you feel a little calmer? Just start to notice how your body is feeling. And all it took was less than a minute. So imagine the effects of this technique if you practiced it 3 times a day for just a minute, or anytime you experience stress. Now, I would recommend practicing this when you're actually not stressed, so it becomes easier for you to do this when you're actually stressed. So try this technique out for the next 2 weeks and let me know how it goes. You can always comment below if you have any questions, and if you want me to create a video on any other topic that you might be interested in, just let me know. Feel free to comment. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend ahead and a wonderful week next week. Bye for now.